2 Samuel chapter 7. If you have it, would you say amen? And it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and the Lord had given him rest round about from all his enemies. And Nathan said to the king, Go, do all that is in thine heart, for the Lord is with thee. Go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in? In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, Why build you not me a house of cedar? And I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. And as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies, also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee a house. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of man, and with the stripes of children. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. And thy house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. Together, according to all these words, and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Now stand with me as we read Psalm 16. Preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. O my soul, thou hast said unto the Lord, Thou art my Lord. My goodness extends not to thee, but to the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent, in whom is all my delight. Their sorrows shall be multiplied that hasten after another God. Their drink offerings of blood will I not offer, nor take up their names into my lips. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thy lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. I will bless the Lord, who hath given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night season. I have set the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. Thou wilt show me the paths of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forever. You may be seated. Verse 1, preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. I want to talk about worship based on knowledge. Worship based on knowledge. Here's what I want. This is my creative sentence, my preposition. We worship better when we know better. In fact, worship takes on a different meaning when we know better. So Paul says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I understood as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. All right, so then, what is implied in the dynamic of maturing as a Christian, or for our purposes, for maturing as a redeemed person, is that I am maturing because I'm growing, and I'm growing because I'm knowing more about my God as I move through my everyday life experiences. And that the reality is, the only reason he allows me to have these experiences is so that I might see him differently in each one. Yes, sir. And when I approach life that way, when we approach life that way, then no experience is lost on us. Because then every experience becomes a learning opportunity. And in the context of that learning, what's happening is I am seeing God in a way that I didn't see him before. And ultimately, in the seeing him in this way, I get to know him in a way that I didn't know him before. Okay, so I didn't know that God was a keeper until I needed to be kept. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I didn't know that he was a healer until I needed to be healed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. No. So, okay. No. I knew he was a keeper because someone told me that. But it wasn't until the day that I needed personally to be kept that I now know he's a keeper. So then we can argue that there is a difference between knowing and knowing. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Come on, parents. What is it that upsets you about your children the most? Let's tell the truth, parent to parent. What is it that upsets you about your children the most? Here it is right here. They have no respect for what you do for them. And the evidence of that is that they rarely authentically say thank you. Hold it. But the moment they get their own house, and the moment they start raising their own children, all of a sudden, you find them coming by the house every now and then saying thank you. Why? Because while they were living with you, it was just a bill that came to the house. Help me, somebody. And what they did was grab it out the mailbox, came in the house, dropped it on the dining room table, went on about their business. Went to the fridge, turn all the lights on in the house, and got the music blasting, every TV in the whole house going at the same time. 5 and 6 different, songs and telecast, all that stuff going on at the same time. But come on, now you go to their house. Lights are out. Come on, help me. TV's off unless they in the room. Why? Because at your house, it was just a bill. But at their house, it's their bill. Come on. And they didn't understand bills for real until they had to start paying for them. So then there's a difference between knowing and knowing. Now, watch this. David has just told Nathan, he says, I'm sitting up in this house, got this beautiful place, God over there in a tent, I'm going to build him a house. Verse 3, 2 Samuel 7, Nathan said, go on, do what you got to do, handle your business, the Lord is with you. Nathan goes home. 2 Samuel 7, 4, he goes home, and when he gets there, the Lord stops and says, yo, go right back and tell David, I ain't asked him to build me no house. See, I ain't got nobody here. We just read it. He said, I ain't tell David to build me no house. In fact, I ain't tell Moses or nobody else before David to build me. I never said, don't build me. I ain't no build me no house. And then he says, in fact, David, you can't build me a house. I'm not going to let you build a house because your hands are too bloody. But here's what I am going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let your son build me the house. He can do that, and I'm going to bless him. But here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to let you build me a house, but I'm going to build you one. I'm going to build you a house. 2 Samuel chapter 7, theologically, is identified as the Davidic covenant. And literally what that means is that God stops by David's house and makes him a promise. And this particular promise is unconditional and irrevocable. I wish I had somebody in here. It's unconditional and it's irrevocable. I ain't got nobody in here. An unconditional covenant that comes from God means that God makes the covenant because he wants to. And then he bases the fulfillment on the covenant on him and not you. And the reason why it's good news when it's an unconditional covenant is because it is unconditional and it is irrevocable, meaning that nothing that you do. I wish I had 3 of y'all in here. Nothing that you do is going to mess this thing up. Why? Because God says, I'm going to do it myself. And I base the fulfillment on it on myself, not on you. The fulfillment of it is going to be on me, not on you. It's going to be on me. I'm going to do it because I want to. Come on, somebody. And listen, and one of the reasons why he does it, stay with me. One of the reasons why he does it, please don't go to sleep. One of the reasons why he does it is to make sure that only he gets the credit. It's to secure his own glory. Are you there? After God stops by and makes this commitment to David, unconditional, irrevocable covenant, he says to David, you need to understand, here it is, that your throne will last forever. Your throne is going to last forever. Stay with me. But if it's going to be a forever throne, there needs to be a forever person to sit on it. And that ain't you, David. You gonna die, but your throne will last forever. Nathan departs, goes about his business. David sits down and says, preserve me, O God. We're gonna have church in 3 minutes. Here it is. For in thee do I put my trust. Check this out. Worship based on knowledge. Three things that will help us in this issue. I want to be able to go to God and give him pure praise, full thanksgiving, and all that, right? But I have some questions on the human side of the equation. On the human side of the worship equation, I have some questions. The first question I have is, can God settle me? And when I say settle me, I mean settle me to the point where he removes my fears. Secondly, can God satisfy me? I mean, satisfy me to the point where I am complete where I am. And then thirdly, what I want to know is, can God secure me? And I mean, can he secure me to the point where I have absolute confidence for the days that are unseen? Can he do that? Now, if in fact these three questions are answered, then I have no problem offering to God the pure and authentic praise that he deserves. Humanly speaking. I'm talking about from the human side. You understand what I'm saying? No. I'm saying faith is mixed up in there. I get that. But from a very practical standpoint, there are three issues. Number one, can he settle me? Settle me to the point where I ain't got no fear. Can he satisfy? Can he satisfy me to the point where I'm not looking for anything else but him? And then thirdly, can he secure me to the point where I have confidence even for the days that haven't even gotten here yet? Jesus. Can he do it? Thank you. Are y'all with me this morning? Yes, sir. Here it is. Watch this. Question number one. Can God settle us? I'm talking about worship based on knowledge. Can he? I'm asking the questions because I want to know. Watch. Can he settle me? Let's see. Verse 1. He says, preserve me, O God, for in thee do I put my trust. Oh, yeah. Y'all see it? Yes, sir. Watch this. O my soul, thou hast said to the Lord, you are my Lord. Y'all see it? Yes, sir. You're my master. He says, my goodness extends not to thee. The idea of that particular statement is that my goodness comes from you. Yes, in other words, I have no goodness apart from you. Yes, you got it? Yes, now here it is. But to the saints that are in the earth and to the excellent, watch this, in whom is all my delight. In other words, I have great relationships with those who think and walk the same way I do. Yes, sir. In other words, I have great fellowship with those who trust in the Lord like me. Yes, y'all got it? Now watch this. He says, on the other hand, their sorrow shall be multiplied that hasten after another God, their drink offerings, blood offerings. He says, I will not offer. He says, nor take up their names into my lips. Here's the idea. David says this. He says, first of all, understand this. He says, my soul, that which is in me, he says, has said to the Lord, you are my master. All right, can God settle the issues of my heart so that, watch this, I have no fear? Yes, sir. Check it. The word is preserve me, O God. Yes, sir. Here it is, keep me. Oh, yeah. Look, in the face of situations, in the face of circumstances that are beyond our control, here's the idea. What we need more than anything else is a God who has the power to keep us. Yes. Amen. Yes, sir. No, you ain't there. Watch. The prayer is not to remove the problem. The prayer is preserve me in the midst of the problem. There are some situations and circumstances we are not going to be able to avoid. Come on, somebody. Okay, if I, listen, all right, look, let's do it this way. Old school, let's do it this way. Turn to the person sitting next to you and tell them, grow up. Here's the idea. Stay with me. There are some situations and some circumstances that the Lord will come by. That's right. And he'll change it. Yes, he will. Sometimes God will come by and take you out of a situation. No question about it. Amen. No question. Watch this. But the older you get in the Lord, the more you live with him, more than likely, he doesn't change the circumstance, nor does he take you out of it. More often than not, he allows us to be in it. So So then the act of deliverance is not the snatching away from or the diminishing of the problem. Here's the deal. God will allow you to go into the situation and then allow the situation and yourself to merge together. Watch this. And refuse to take you out and refuse to take it away, but instead, what you learn is he's a keeper. He has the ability to preserve you. Come on, y'all. Listen, the preserved are not those who have been snatched out, but the preserved are those who have been kept in. Come on, somebody. Listen, like we said earlier, I didn't even know what God could do until he left me in the midst of the situation, and I found out he was able to keep me in spite of what's going on around me. Watch this. Check this. Check this out. You know, of course, the obvious illustration is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. We've been there too often. You know about that. But check this one out. You remember, you ever seen them buoys? B-U-O-Y, boys. What you call them? Boys. Come on, y'all know what they are. Buoys, right? You know what they do? They drop them in the sea, right? Put them in the water. Just drop them right in there. Poor buoy, right? Sea get rough, battering the thing, knocking it all around, slapping it all kind of way. Right? You see a thing going on like this. But guess what happens? Every time I do this, boing. No, I ain't got nobody here. I can't do it too hard because I've been having issues, but you understand what I'm saying. This is the worst kind of sermon to preach in my condition, but since I'm here, I might as well go on with it. You know, you get out there, the boy like this, like this, wind blow, and all of a sudden, bang, you see it coming back up. You know what I'm talking about, right? Watch this. They don't come back and get the thing and put it back. Oh, poor boy, put it in. No matter how bad the storm is, leave it right out there. Come on, somebody. And the reason why they're able to do that is because of what they put inside. They put something inside the buoy to make sure it's got comeback power. Do I have anybody in here? I need some folk in here that got some comeback power to come along with me this morning. It's got some in it. Now watch this. The key is you don't want the water to get in the buoy. As long as the water stays out of the buoy's going to do exactly what it was built to do. Come on, help me. But you can always put the buoy in the water, because ain't no water gonna get in. Come on, somebody here. They fix it so it can't. Come on, nothing that's outside can get inside. No matter how bad the storm may be, it keeps coming back because of what's down on the inside. Well, child of God, you got some stuff that God put on the inside so he can drop you in some things. He can leave you in some circumstances, because while you may do this, it may get crazy, but if you hang around long enough, here you go. You're coming right back. And that's because of what he put in you. And that's the reason why we ain't got no fear. Nothing out here bothers me. Nothing out here disturbs me. Nothing out here moves me, because of what he put in me. And what he put in me keeps me springing back. Come on, somebody. No, because this ain't my first ocean. I've been in the ocean before you. There ain't much the waves can do to me now that will surprise me, because I've seen waves before. I've seen storms before. There's nothing you can do to me now, because I've already been through the storm. That's the word there. Yes, sir. My Lord. Right here, Lord. Right here, Lord. Right here, Lord. So there it is. First question. Can he settle us? Yes. 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 Can he satisfy us? Watch this. He says in verse 6, verse 5, he says, here it is. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup.
That's right.
He says, thou maintainest my lot.
Yes, sir.
Y'all see it?
Yes, sir.
He says, the lines are fallen unto me in a pleasant place, in pleasant places rather. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. Everybody see it? All right, now here's the deal. Israel comes into the land of Canaan, and when they get there, Joshua has already been informed while they were in the wilderness. He says, here's what's going to happen. Mark out the territory, right? And literally what he means is this. Every tribe has their own territory and their own place. In other words, every tribe has their own lot, and their lot has already been lined out. Okay? No, you ain't there. Look at this. Hear what he says. Verse 6. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. You see it? Stay with me. He says, yeah, I have a goodly heritage, right? Okay, so here's the idea. Issachar and Dan and Gad, right? Manasseh and Ephraim, Reuben, they all have their own place. Let's see. All right. And they have their own place in the land of promise. Got it? All right. Now, here's the deal. The only tribe that does not get a territory is Levi. And the Levites don't need that kind of territory dynamic because of their responsibilities. They are the ministers of the tribes of the nation, and so they are free to move and going to do what they need to do throughout the whole land, right? So they don't get a marked off territory. But everybody, every other group, every other tribe has their own specific area. You got it? So here's the idea. When they go into the land, Dan can't get mad at Gad. Gad can't get mad at Asher.
That's right.
Asher can't get mad, at Judah, right? Because everybody has their own place. I need you. Everybody has their own spot, right? Now, what's going to keep me from being upset about what the other tribe has is that the first thing I'm going to be occupied taking care of my own. In fact, so preoccupied with taking care of my own portion that I don't have time to look over. So here it is. So God so abundantly blesses them that they don't have the time to spend trying to figure out how much land somebody else got. Because I'm so busy taking care of my own. You ain't there with me. Wait a minute. And then when I consider this, I really can't scream nor holler about what I have because what I have is a gift. And come on. And the way I handle my gift and the way I treat my gift is a reflection of what I think of the giver. And if I spend all my time in the tribe of Ephraim looking over at the tribe of Asher trying to figure out what they got, then I'm saying to the giver that I don't care nothing about what you've done for me.
the reality is that I'm going to rejoice over the gift I have to let the giver know just how happy I am with the gift he's given me.
Lines, look at this. He said the lines are falling under me in a pleasant place. Hold it, wait a minute. And then I really can't get funky with you because, and you really can't get funky with me about, even if you got a little more, you can't get funky with me. Why? Because we all come from the same place. Don't be acting funky. Don't be acting funky. Don't be getting funky. No, because you know how we are. Hey man, you know how we are. You know how we are. Get a little something different than someone else, and you start walking around like you're smelling something all the time. You know what I'm saying? But you can't get funky. You can't get funky if you got a little more. You can't get funky if you got a little bit more land. You can't get funky with that. Why? Because we all come from the same place. Watch this. Stay with me. We all came out of Egypt. Come on. And the only reason we're here now is because we came through the wilderness. Come on, so listen, so there ain't nowhere in the world you can get a little funky with somebody that may not look like they got what you got. But the truth of the matter is, if in fact you got anything, and if I got anything, the truth is none of us got it on our own. We are all here because we've been blessed by somebody that chose to bless us with what we have. And rather than get attitude with the person because they got a little more or they may have a little less, instead of that, let's rejoice over the blessing. No, I ain't got nobody. Verse 7. Look at what David says. Join in with the thing. He says, I will bless the Lord who hath given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night season. Know what that means? That means what he's done for me keeps talking to me about who did it. Come on, somebody. Now, I will confess to you that when I go to the market or the mall, which is rare, but when I go, I will confess to you, I drive and park a little funky. I do. I pull up into the parking lot. I specifically look for a space away from all the other stuff, especially if it's a beat-up car. I drive and I park a little funky. I do that. Amen. But when I come to church, the house of God, I don't have time for that foolishness. Particularly since y'all provide a parking space for Listen to me. Listen to me. Can he satisfy us? The answer is yes. Can he settle us? The answer is yes. Third question. Can he secure us? Verse 8. David says, I have set the Lord always before me. Because he's at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Could stop there, but let's not. Verse 9 rather. He says, therefore, here it is. Here's my worship based on what I know. Therefore, my heart is glad and my glory rejoices. My flesh also shall rest in hope. He says, what the Lord is doing in me has so effectively worked in me that even my body has hope. No. Literally, even my physical body has hope. Y'all got it? Stay with me. Hear what he says. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither will you suffer thy Holy One to see corruption. Now, that verse literally talks about a physical body. To see corruption is to see corruption in the grave. He says, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption. At this point, David switches gears. Now stay with me, because in verse 9, he says, my flesh. In other words, God has so effectively worked in me that even now my body has hope, a physical body, right? But here it is, verse 10, he switches gears and he says, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither will you suffer your Holy One to see corruption. Y'all see that? Now, you got to get this. At this juncture, David switches gears, and he's not even talking about himself. Listen, he talks about his body, verse 9, but then in verse 10, he moves and still dealing with this body metaphor, but he switches gears because now he identifies, he says, you will not suffer your Holy One to see corruption. Well, he's not talking about himself. He can't be because he ain't the Holy One. He can't be. In fact, he writes this psalm clearly aware of the fact that he is going to die and he's going to stay dead. Stay with me. And he knows that because God says to him, you're going to die, but your throne is going to last forever. Stay with me. You won't be on it, but your throne will last forever. Hold it now. If there's going to be a forever throne, then there has to be a forever person that will sit on that throne. Day of Pentecost, over 1,000 years later, Peter stands up and says to them, you all are talking about these people who are speaking in these tongues as if they've been drunk. It's too early in the morning to be drunk. He says, what you're seeing now and what you're witnessing is what the prophet Joel talked about. And the reason why this thing has come is because Jesus of Nazareth, the one that you all crucified, that one that you murdered, the one that you took his life, the one that gave up his life, and the one that you took his life. Come on, it's a combination of the two. He said the one that you took his life and the one that gave up his life, that one died on Friday. Yeah. But on the third day, he got up from the grave. And then Peter says, for, watch this, God was faithful to his word. Acts chapter 2. And he was faithful to his word, so much so that it went something like this. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither will you suffer your Holy One to see corruption. Stay with me here. The Jewish allotment of time before the body decays is 4 days. I'm done. Because it went right over your head, and I done preached all this morning, and amen, y'all will whip me up to this point. You missed it. I said the Jewish allotment for the body to decay in the grave is 4 days. On the Jewish time scale, on the Jewish time scale, when they expect a body, y'all ain't there. Jesus says, I'm down here now. I hit Bethany. I've arrived. Let's handle this Lazarus situation. His sisters say to him, if you had been here, our brother would not have died. He says, don't worry about it, girls, because you're waiting for the resurrection. The resurrection has arrived. Come on. I am the resurrection and the life. He said, take the stone away. And somebody jumped up. Hold it, wait. Don't do that. Why? Because he's been dead 4 days. I ain't got nobody in it. Which means that his body has begun to decay.
Jesus said, yes, they're going to crucify me. Yes, they're going to nail me to a cross. Yes, it's going to look awful. And on that morning, they're going to take me off the cross, wrap me up in linen, and put me inside of a grave. But don't sweat it and don't worry. Why? Because on the third day, one day before the body starts to decay, I will get up from the grave. Come on. 1,000 years. Come on, somebody. 1,000 years before it happened, David said, under the unction of the Holy Ghost, don't worry about this thing, because God will not allow his Holy One to see corruption. Ain't got nobody in here. Here's the deal. God says 1,000 years before it happened, he says, don't worry, because my son will be in the grave, but I won't let his body decay. Come on, somebody. And that gives him, Jesus, a great sense of security. And this morning, as a redeemed person, if you believe in Jesus and you remember that he got up on the third day, you need not ever worry about what's coming, because the same security that God gave Jesus, he's given to you and I right here and right now. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not worried about any circumstance nor situation. Why? Because my God got power. If he's able to bring up Jesus out of the dead, then surely he's able to get me out of this situation that I'm in right now. In fact, whatever comes up tomorrow, he's got the power. No matter what it is, I'm not afraid. So, can he settle you? Yes. Can he satisfy you? Yes. Can he secure you? Yes. If that's the case, why don't you worship him? Now that ain't helping you yet. So let me give you one more and we're out. Verse 11. Closing verse, latter part of the verse. Hear what he says. At his right hand are pleasures forevermore. Y'all ain't there. And verse 11 follows verse 10. In verse 10, he gets up before he decays. Between 10 and 11, he goes back to heaven. Guess where he is right now? He sits on the right hand of the Father. And the promise is, at your right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. Let me give you another reason to worship him. But my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory. Anybody here got a need? Anybody here worried about a situation? Let me hear. Here it is. At his right hand, Jesus is there, and all of heaven supply.
There is absolutely no reason for a child of God not to worship. No reason. There is always something we can give him glory for. So Kenny, answer is yes to all three. And if he can, why won't you give him glory and give him praise? Every head bowed, every eye closed. In the presence of the living God now, I wonder, is your business straight with Jesus? Is your business straight with Jesus? Has
Thank you.
he settled the issues of your heart?
Oh, God.
I wonder this morning if there are any who will testify in their hearts and say, I've been in church, but I've been missing something all these years. I've been missing something all these years. And this morning I find I'm not settled, I'm not satisfied, I'm not secure. But I believe today that there is a way to have all three of those answered in the affirmative. And his name is Jesus. You've never been born again. You've never seen Christ. You've never asked Christ to come into your life. You're not saved. You're not a Christian. We invite you today to come and be a part of God's family. Yeah. Not Shiloh, but a part of God's family.
Oh, yes.
Then if you're here, you say, I am a Christian. I know the Lord, but I'm out of fellowship. And I know it. I'm out of fellowship. I walked away from the church. Something came up that bothered me. Something drove me away. But I'm here today, and I'm looking for a place where I can grow and be a part of a movement of believers that are not perfect, but are moving toward one who is. If you're here and you'll say, I am a Christian and I'm looking for a place to go, a church home, we invite you today. Let the Spirit of God speak to your heart. Know that it is the voice of the Lord. And bring yourself to this altar today as we all stand before the presence of the Lord.